2013 prelims question from mapping. The question was about matching the geographical features with the respective regions. Now the question asks us about Abyssinian Plateau, Atlas Mountains, Guiana Highlands and Okavango Basin. So let's talk about these features. The first one we are talking about is Abyssinian Plateau. The Abyssinian Plateau is also called as Ethiopian Highlands. And these Ethiopian highlands are spread over Ethiopia and Eritrea. Now, given their height and the large area that they cover, they are also called as roof of Africa. As far as formation is concerned, these are basaltic lava plateau. So these were formed somewhere around 30 million years ago, okay, when the rifting of African plate took place. Now, this rifting of African plate resulted in the formation of Red Sea, Gulf of Aden and Great African Rift Valley system. And this is the rifting which separated Arabian plate from the African plate. So Ethiopian highland is the center point of these three arms of the rifting that took place. And due to this rifting, a lot of basaltic magma came out, the deposition of which resulted in formation of flood basalt or lava plateau. This Ethiopian highland now is divided into two parts, and this division is the northwestern part and southeastern part. Now this northwestern and southeastern part are divided by the same Great African Rift Valley system. And over here, the northwestern part of Ethiopian highland, that is called as Abyssinian Massif. So with this Abyssinian Massif, as you can see in the map, this shows mountains over here, and these are the mountains that we call as the Samian mountains. Along with this, another important feature that I find in this Abyssinian Massif is Lake Tana. Now, Lake Tana is the source of Blue Nile River. So with respect to Nile, if we see over here, we have Lake Victoria, which is the source of White Nile, and Lake Tana, which is the source of Blue Nile. So this is the first feature, that is Ethiopian highlands, or what we also call as Abyssinian Plateau. The second feature with us is Atlas Mountains. Now Atlas Mountains are whole mountain ranges, and these Atlas Mountains are spread over Morocco, Algeria and Tunisia. Now these are the fold mountains which separate Mediterranean Sea from the Sahara Desert. Different parts of Atlas Mountain, if we see, first of all, in Morocco, we have Middle Atlas, High Atlas and Anti-Atlas range. Further, in Algeria, I have Tel Atlas and Saharan Atlas range. And the extension of Saharan Atlas range into Tunisia, okay, this is called as Oris Mountain. So these are the different parts of the Atlas Mountain ranges. Now in this case, what we see is the Anti-Atlas range. Anti-Atlas ranges were formed, okay, during what we call as Alleghenian orogeny. So Alleghenian orogeny is the period which is attributed to the formation of Appalachians, which means Anti-Atlas are as old as Appalachians and were formed in pre-Pangea period. On the other hand, rest of the Atlas Mountain range, that was formed during the Alpine orogeny. Alpine orogeny, when the Alps were formed, and the formation of these is attributed to the convergence and collision of the African plate with the Eurasian plate. So in this, Anti-Atlas is old mountain, okay, compared to rest of the Atlas Mountain ranges. So this is Atlas Mountain range. Now moving on to the third part, okay, which is Guiana Highlands. So Guiana Highlands or Guiana Shield, first of all, is spread over Venezuela, Guyana and certain parts of Brazil, which is northern Brazil, but mainly spread over Venezuela and Guyana. Now these Guiana Highlands, they are also called as Guiana Shield, okay, primarily because of their age. First of all, these are ancient land blocks, okay, the age of which would be more than 2 billion years old. So these ancient land masses, pre-Cambrian period land masses, they are believed to be the core of the continents around which the continents have been formed. So South American craton has been formed around this one particular shield, which is Guiana Highlands. Now, one important feature of Guiana Highland is what we identify as tepoi. Now, this tepoi, okay, what is tepoi? Tepoi is flat top or tabletop mountains. So, what I see over here is this Guiana Highland. This is Precambrian period, very ancient landmass, and it has relatively remained stable over the period of time. And therefore, erosive forces have taken up on, and whole of the area has been eroded a lot. These tabletop mountains which are there, they represent residual mountains over here, which means they are made up of resistant rocks, more resistant rocks. So when the surrounding has been eroded down, these mountains remain as residual mountains over here, the tepois. These tepois are mainly found in Venezuela and Guyana. And it is from the cleft of one such tepoi only where the world's highest waterfall falls, that is Angel Falls in Venezuela. Now this Guiana Highland covers the part of what we identify as the Orinoco Basin, Orinoco River. So this is the third feature, and from here we move on to the fourth feature, which was Okavango Delta, Okavango Basin. Now, Okavango Basin related to Okavango River in Africa. This Okavango River now originates from Angola, and from there, this river flows, cuts through Namibia and enters into Botswana. Now, this one particular river I can identify as Endoric Basin. Now, Endoric Basin is a basin where the outflow of the river is not into the ocean, but somewhere within the land only. So, in this case, if you see the entry that is given as Okavango Delta. Now, Delta, where do we find Delta? Delta we find generally along the coastal areas. But over here, the Delta has been shown right in the interior of the continent. That is where the river is lost. Here itself, it is divided into a number of branches, creating a large swampy region. And these swamps have been called as Okavango Delta. And because it is lost in the interior of the continent itself, I call it Endoric Basin. So the Okavango River would be associated with the countries Angola, Namibia, and Botswana in Africa. So these are the four major features from where the question was asked. So if I go back to the question now, Abyssinian Plateau. Abyssinian Plateau, they have said Arabia. Abyssinian Plateau we know is northeastern Africa, Ethiopia and Eritrea. So this is wrong, and rather it would be northeastern Africa. Atlas Mountain, northwestern Africa, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia. This is correct one. Guiana Highlands, southwestern Africa, they have given us, whereas Guiana Highlands we have seen is northern South America. And then we have Okavango Basin. Okavango Basin, Patagonia has been given. Okay, Patagonia, where is Patagonia? Patagonia is southeastern South America, which is the Argentinian region. So this also is incorrect. Okavango Basin we have seen is Africa. So South Central Africa, that is where Okavango River is there. So these are the four entries in which I find the correct answer to be Atlas Mountains, northwestern Africa. Now, based on this, if we talk about certain related practice questions from here, okay, the first practice question I can find can be, okay, this question arrange the following from north to south. So with the practice questions, what you are going to do, you are going to attempt it by yourself and you can type your answers in the comment boxes. You can discuss it there also. Arrange the following from north to south, and I have given you these different parts of Atlas Mountains. Okay, high Atlas, anti-Atlas, middle Atlas, arrange it from north to south. A similar type of question can be asked with respect to arrange from west to east or east to west with respect to these portions itself. Okay, which can be anti-Atlas, let's say, till Atlas or East Mountain. So north to south or west to east, this is the first question. Second practice question is, through which of the following countries Atlas Mountains run? This is a very straightforward question, but because Atlas Mountains are very important mountains with respect to Africa and a part of alpine orogeny, we expect these type of questions. And the third practice question is, which of the following rivers drain into Atlantic Ocean? So Orinoco River, I have told you just now, Orinoco River is with respect to Guiana Highlands we have discussed. Okavango Basin, I have shown you. Congo as well as Amazon River. One river again from Africa and one river from South America. These are the four rivers, and I have to find which are draining into Atlantic Ocean. So these are the three practice questions for you related to that particular question which was asked.